Hiya, and welcome back to Tennis Ace, the game that teaches us that Dune almost set fire to the school, and is still allowed to be a goddamn waiter. Yeah, Star's here.
Hi. During the duration of this stream, I will be sleeping. What?
Hang on. Yeah. Oh yeah, Amethyst is asking if you missed him.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm just not alive right now, dude. So many class stuffs.
Anyways, let's just hop right in. Well, once again, I'm standing outside of my own classroom waiting for a certain tiger to appear. And once again, as is usual, he's late. Please tell me he didn't cause another accident today. My attention is immediately snapped back to reality when June's rotund figure appears by the door. He shuts it behind his back before leaning back into it and sighing deeply. Is everything okay? The little tiger looks up at me with a weary expression, not even at all fazed by my appearance. Hey, Yuichi-san! Yeah, I'm fine. You sure? You don't look fine. He lifts his head up to chest height. He lifts his hand up to chest height, waving it dismissively. Yeah, I'm just tired. That's all. Doing this stuff for 4 days kinda takes it out of you. How come you were late again today? You didn't get into another accident, did you? No, my replacement was late, so I had to stick around until he arrived because I couldn't leave the place short-staffed. Come to think of it, I did see one of our classmates walking into the restaurant with a waiter uniform. I guess that explains that. Do you want to take some time to just breathe and relax before we set out? Could we? That'd be great. Yeah, if he's actually agreeing with my idea of resting, then I know he's really exhausted. June, don't push yourself so hard, okay? Knowing him, I can almost guarantee he will eventually. Has anyone been doing the freak deer while you were gone? I don't know. Yes, some people were doing the freak deer. Honestly, he's more stubborn than the proverbial mule. It really makes me want to give him a good firm kick to the ass sometimes. By the way, Yuichi-san, do you have any idea what you want us to do today? Yep, I have a few things planned out that I think you'll like. Like what? Nah, not while Star was here.
Star is taking a nap in the
Hold up. Yeah. Well, we already agreed that we wanted to see that play the second years are putting on. I passed by there yesterday and got a brochure with the times and explaining the play itself. Ooh, that's interesting. I didn't even tell you what it's about yet. How are you already thinking it's interesting? I'm sure I'll find it interesting anyway. Anyway, I also checked and saw that the video game club set up an arcade, so we can go check that out. An arcade? How did they even manage to do that? I have no idea. Maybe they rented a few machines for the day. All I know is that people have been saying they have quite a few games, so we can go try that. Yeah, it sounds really fun. Before I noticed it, I had put my hand on top of June's head and begun calmly petting like that was the most normal thing in the world. Oh, sorry. No, it's okay. You look like you've perked up quite a bit already. I have! How about we go to the arcade? All this because you want to play games? Well, the brochure you gave me says the play won't start until a few hours from now, so it's not like we have anything else to do. I suppose that's a good point. Alright, follow me and try not to get swept up by the sea of people on the floors below. If you think it's packed here, wait till you see downstairs. Oh god. I suppose it's too much to hope that there won't be many people at the arcade. Yup, it most certainly is. Aww. How in the ever-loving fuck did they fit Dave and Buster's into a classroom? They fit Dave and Buster's into a fucking classroom. For real, for real. For real. That's 3 for reals. For real, for real, for real, for real. please.
It's too late for a stalemate, huh?
Excuse you. Excuse you.
Hold on a minute.
Oh no, the belt.
I'm being good.
I'm being Have.
We're being him.
Oh shit, this belt's actually falling apart. You know how much we were like whacking this belt on the thing whenever one of our friends was over?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this belt is actually falling apart. Like there's a hole in it now.
I figured as much.
Anyways.
We're
Here,
being
hold
Have.
up. Yeah, they put a goddamn Dave and Buster's in the classroom. I'm trying to keep these two behaved.
We're good. We're being good.
The two of us walk into the dimly lit room. Immediately we see a multitude of colorful flashing lights coming from the myriad of machines spread around the place in neat lines. You don't know what it... Okay, not Dave and Buster's. Yeah. The place is far more packed than I thought it'd be, with barely any room to maneuver by the entrance. I guess that's because there is only one very narrow door to function as both an entrance and an exit. And they even have the single cash register right next to the door, with a smallish-looking stoat standing in front of it, frantically doing many tasks all at once to service the ever-growing line of customers. Considering her height, I guess the girl is a middle schooler, but since I know such a thing is pretty impossible, maybe she's a freshman? Come on, June, let's go.
I look over at the street. What the fuck?
Oh, it's called anxiety. I thought you of all people would know that.
Color coded.
I feel a tight squeeze around my arm, and without even having to turn to look, I already groan in exasperation. Can't you try to hold it together for just a little bit? The entrance might be packed, but the place looks okay by the machines. We'll be out of the mob's hair in just a few. Nope, no response at all. The June is vibrating. Yeah, we're having a chord progression stream tonight. Yep, his brain is shut off pretty good again. It's been a while since he's done this too. It- I guess hoping his experience with the festival had made him improve at dealing with crowds was just a pipe dream. I try to ignore the shivering tourniquet I have wrapped like a vice around my arm as I stand in line. Soon I can feel some slight tingling that continues to grow more and more as time goes by. Yep, it's official. I can't feel my arm. And I might need a crowbar to pry this tiger away from me when we're finished. Sad part is, this kind of stuff doesn't even faze me anymore. Just another day in my life as I deal with June. Good afternoon, how may I help you? The stoat girl looks up at us with an uneasy smile once our turn finally rolls around. I can barely make out her features very well considering the darkness in this room, but I have a feeling that her eyes are a deep amber. Hi, me and my friend want to buy a few tokens for games. Oh, we don't actually use tokens, we use cards. She opens a drawer underneath her register and pulls out a credit card-looking plastic thingy that has a magnetic bar on the back, gesturing to it with a smile. See, we load credits into the cards and every machine has a card reader that debits them when swiped. How the hell did you guys manage to get all this set up? My class barely even managed to clear enough of a budget to get gas burners for the restaurant. The girl's smile becomes a little more open at my question. Bolero would be like,
I'm going back to sleep now. Good night.
She adjusts herself where she stands and clears her throat. You see, the video game club is one of the most popular in the school. Every year we make a lot of different highly profitable displays and use the funds from those to bolster our budgets for the next year. That way our members can always have the best experiences possible during the festival and everyone gets to have fun. Isn't it great? Huh. I don't even remember seeing the video game club's events for the past 2 years. Guess wasn't paying much attention. Her shoulders sag at my apparent lack of enthusiasm as she stares up at me with a furrowed eyebrow. I see. Anyway, how much is a session in each of the machines? However quickly her disappointment came, she put herself back together just as quickly and was back to her professional demeanor in no time, straightening her back and clearing her throat once more. Each play session ranges from 150 to 400 yen, but it depends on what machine you're looking to use. That's a little pricier than in a regular arcade, but then again, I imagine it couldn't have been cheap to rent all these machines for the duration of the festival. She smiles and nods, not saying another word to my statement. Okay, I'll take a card for me and one for my friend. Load them up with about 2,000 yen each. That should be enough. Let me just warn you that if you don't finish spending all the money before you leave, you'll still be asked to return the card and it'll be wiped clear of any funds. Sure, that's fine. Could you please hurry up? I really can't feel my left arm anymore. Hang on, let me just try to get my wallet here. I awkwardly attempt to fish my wallet out of my pocket using my right hand. The girl, who seemed to have noticed June the entire time, finally lays eyes on the shaking Tyro and gasps. Is he okay? That's debatable. He always gets like this in the middle of big crowds. Hey, Earth to June. Can you let go of my arm? I kind of need it right now. Nope, no response. Oh man, this is much more troublesome than I thought it would be. Why do I always end up having to be the victim of June's panic attacks? I didn't notice them. Sorry. Even when we're hanging out as a group, it's always my arm that ends up being attacked. At this rate, I'm going to end up being traumatized. Hey, June, I really don't want to be rough with you, but I'm having a really hard time getting to my wallet, and I can't feel any blood circulation in my arm anymore. No dice, he continues to cling to my arm, shaking like one of those vibrating back massagers you can buy for a few bucks at a random street vendor. Alright, just for the record, I didn't want to have to resort to this. Resort to what? With my free hand, I pinched June's nose. Since his mouth is acting as if it were welded shut, he won't be able to breathe if I do this. Wait, isn't that a bit... June lunges away from me and to the side, taking a deep breath as he comes back to his senses. I know, Liar gets updated on Friday. Well, what are you doing, Yuichi-san? Are you trying to kill me? I'm trying to wake you. Just go stand by the machines before you shut down again. But... Just do what I'm telling you. I already can't feel my arm. I don't need you latching to me again. Sorry. He walks away, dragging his feet, looking incredibly crestfallen. By how dramatic he's being, a random bystander might think I just called him some of the most horrible insults known to man. That was... surreal. The girl looks between the two of us with wide open eyes, clearly not used to seeing this degree of craziness in her everyday life. No, the sad part is that it really wasn't. Sorry, hun, but I already deal with this on a daily basis. This sort of thing doesn't get to me anymore. I clumsily managed to scoop my wallet out of my pocket, given that my arm's range of movement is severely impaired. It's tingling so much right now. Such a weird feeling. Here you go. Sorry about the trouble. She nods politely, hesitantly taking the money I hand to her. She scans 2 cards by her machine and quickly hands them back to me with another measured smile. Thank you. I hope you'll enjoy your stay. I nod and flash her a smile, walking off towards the row of machines and looking for June. I finally spot him watching another person playing an old 16-bit. The machine had a second control station, probably so it could allow for 2 players. In the game, an oddly skimpily dressed soldier would walk through a side-scrolling map while shooting a horde of weird-looking alien things and picking power-ups for his weapons. The guy playing the game seemed to be pretty good at it because the amount of projectiles flying at him was nothing short of insane, and yet he would dodge all of them. Ducking, jumping, sliding, all sorts of gravity-defying maneuvers were executed to allow him to dodge the barrage of bullets. But eventually, one bullet just slightly grazed him, and that caused his character to immediately explode into a 16-bit gorefest. Yikes. Hey, Yuichi-san. June finally seemed to notice my presence. He was probably too engrossed in the game to care before. The boy playing got up from the machine without another word and walked off, stomping his way out, clearly frustrated. This one's got your attention? Yeah, I've played it before, although it was the console version, which isn't all that great in my opinion. Really? Why not? It doesn't allow for 2 players, it's pretty laggy. It sometimes has trouble rendering all the bullets on screen, meaning you get hit by invisible ones. Oh, that does sound pretty terrible. Yeah, it's kind of a mess. I've never played the arcade version of it. Can we give it a try? It allows for 2 players. Sure, what's this game called anyway? The name is Dune Wolf. You play as a duo of veteran soldiers in the middle of a war somewhere in a place with a deep jungle before the Earth gets invaded by aliens and you have to fight back. That doesn't really make much sense. The game is from the 80s, so you shouldn't expect a marvel of storytelling from it. I'm surprised you can say that with a straight face when you love games so much. Just because I love them doesn't mean I can't be realistic about their issues. Games a few years back really sucked in terms of story. Hell, I once played an RPG where the only line of dialogue in the whole game was in the very opening sequence where the king just said, "Oh no, the princess was taken, please save her," and that was it. That's not very good, yeah. To say the least. The soundtrack was pretty good though, considering it was an 8-bit game. You always have comments on game soundtracks, don't you? Yeah, it's my favorite thing to pay attention to. Do you have any idea what kind of company you'd work for once you got a job as composer? I don't know. I don't even know if I'd get one. It's not a sure thing by any definition of the word. Oh, come on, you've got so much talent. Sure you will. Even if that is true, just having talent isn't enough. You need a lot of luck to make it in a highly competitive environment. Sometimes the most talented people get passed over. That's a really pessimistic view on things, June. I'm just being realistic. Sometimes, even if you have a lot of talent, you might lack in interpersonal skills or you might not have many connections. It takes a lot of luck to be successful. Just being talented won't be enough. Which one? Do we want to agree or disagree with him? La 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 la.
What?
Yeah. I guess you're probably right. It's not something I enjoy thinking about, but it is what it is. I don't want to agree with it, but at the same time I can't come up with any kind of logical response to it. It stands to reason that not everyone will be able to make it. What June said is true. No matter how talented you are, that isn't a guarantee of anything. If things were that simple, there wouldn't be so many athletes in my own field running around trying to get sponsors. There's only so much a single person can do on their own. I know that. It's just, I hate to have to agree with that. To this day, I have refused any and all sponsorship deals that were offered to me because I wanted to prove to myself that someone can make it on effort alone. So this whole thing just doesn't sit well with me. It goes against all my personal feelings on the matter. But nevertheless, I can't think of a single argument to it. Yuichi-san, you're making a really pained expression right now. Oh, sorry. You don't have to worry about it so much. All someone can do is try their best and hope for the best. There's no point in worrying about it. I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. By the way, did you get the token so we can play? Oh, right. June snaps me back to reality and I dig into my pockets for the 2 plastic cards I was given. Here you go. I've loaded 2,000 yen on each of these, so we should be able to play for a while. Oh, I've never been to a place that used cards before. They're pretty common in commercial arcades nowadays, but I didn't think they'd use them in this one. I guess you can tell I haven't been to an arcade in a few years, huh? Just a little. We both swipe our cards into the player 1 and 2 slots. The screen exits its little demo video and immediately blinks into a game start screen. The two of us are immediately dropped into a thick jungle, and there are already multiple pea-sized bullets being shot at us by a group of soldiers hiding under bushes. Wow. This game is wasting no time in trying to kill us, huh? Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, this was considered one of the most difficult games of the 80s. It gobbled coins like no one's business. What? Hiya. Almost as if on cue, as soon as Jun says those words, an enemy shoots a mortar at the two of us. Jun expertly jumps to the edge of the screen, narrowly dodging it by a few pixels. As for me, I immediately get blown up to bits. Literally 2 bits since this is a 16-bit game. Clever joke, I know. What the hell? Careful, Yuichi-san. You only have 3 lives per player. If you lose all of them, you'll have to pay more. I look down at the little display on the card reader where it says 300 yen per session. This thing is freaking expensive for a game that can just kill you like that. Yuichi-san, pay attention to the game! Ah! I nearly dodged another barrage of bullets shot at me. Jun's character is darting around the screen, dodging everything that is thrown at him and massacring the enemy forces. Since this game is a side-scroller, you can only move forward if I'm with him. We can only move forward if I'm with him. I can quickly tell that I'm slowing him down. Jun can somehow make progress really fast in this thing, killing most of the enemies with expert precision. Meanwhile, it takes every bit of my will and trained reflexes to just avoid enemy fire. How are you doing all this? I played this game so much when I was little that I memorized a lot of the enemy placements. You're kidding me. Careful, on the next screen there will be an enemy helicopter flying overhead and dropping lots of bombs. You'll have to shoot up to destroy it and dodge all the normal enemy units at the same time. As soon as we cross some sort of invisible finish line, a sequence plays out where a giant helicopter that fills all the horizontal space of the screen appears, just like Jun said. A character with a cartoonishly big head sits at the cockpit. And he looks down at us and laughs before bombs begin to drop. Immediately, June is rolling and jumping around, dodging every single one of those and firing at the chopper. As for me... I get blown up for the second time in less than 3 minutes. Be careful, you only have 1 life left. This boss tends to be really good at sucking credits out of new players. You don't say! God, I feel absolutely useless. As soon as I respawn, I begin to mimic June's movements, trying desperately just to stay alive. Which, by the way, is much easier said than done! I think I counted less than 40 seconds before I was blown up again. Hey, Yuichi-san! Sorry, I guess I kinda suck at this. Man, I don't think I've ever sucked so bad at a game before. I'll just let him kill me and we can go play something else. No, you don't need to do that. Just have fun playing the game. I'll watch. You sure? Even though he keeps looking between me and the game, he continues to expertly dodge and fire at the same time. It's like this is super easy for him. And I know June is good at games, but this is kind of ridiculous. Just how often did you play this thing? I think this was the only game I owned for over a year when I was small, so I played it every day. I don't know whether I should be sad or impressed. Eventually, June's efforts pay off as the helicopter begins to systematically explode. The pixely pilot turns to look at the screen with a look of terror before the whole thing finishes blowing up, taking him with it. This game definitely isn't ashamed about its own violence, huh? That's what makes it fun! It's just silly, fast-paced gaming. I'm not sure if I'd call it fun. Stressful, sure. Not fun. Let's see how long you can last on your own. I continue to stand behind him, watching him massacre waves of enemies all by himself through multiple stages. I don't even know how much time I spent watching him, although I'm somewhat dimly aware of the fact that he hasn't even died once. Seriously, how are you doing this? Your dodges are all pixel perfect. That's ridiculous. I had a lot of practice after all. How many levels does this thing even have? As June continued to play, I noticed that each level got more and more bizarre. From a thick, densely packed jungle to a forward enemy base in a clearing to a boat level and a marine base. Then the aliens hit. The water turned purple, the skies darkened, hordes of weird flying things began to attack from above. I kind of lost count on how many weird new enemies types kept appearing, but June apparently had all of them memorized. I'm on level 6 right now. This game has 10 levels. It probably won't last that much longer. You played over half the game without dying once? Are you kidding me? I'm pretty good at it, aren't I? You are. And definitely not humble about it either. Although after seeing just how easily this game kicked my ass, I guess he's entitled to feel proud of himself for it. The guy that I'd been playing before has seemed to be quite a few levels behind where June is now too. Ah! Then it happens. A single bullet barely grazed the foot of June's character mid-jump and that caused him to explode. Damn it! That's one! I'm surprised it's only just been one. There's so many bullets flying by the screen right now that I can't even keep track of where they're coming from. He must have some really good hand-eye coordination. During the next level, June is suddenly sucked into what I assume is the alien mothership. He fights a bunch of frog-like things with cannons strapped to their backs. They jump around in weird patterns and spray bullets in circles that fly all over the screen. Just watching all of them on screen is already starting to make me feel sick. June dies for the second time there. Just like before, he gets barely grazed by a bullet and that causes his character to die. I have to say, for a veteran soldier, this character doesn't seem to be very resistant to anything, really. Like, a bullet just hit your toe, dude. You don't need to explode because of that. June somehow manages to get past this level. There were many times where I thought he was a goner, but he clung to that last life. Level 9. Just one more. His face was scrunched up in a look of frustration as he continued to mash the buttons on the machine. June was leaning so far forward on his chair that he was almost touching the screen with his forehead. Careful, you're going to hurt your eyes like that. Shh! Not now. He, of course, brushed me aside completely. Ah! June jumps back on his seat as his character is hit for the third time. Once he explodes again, the entire screen is tinted red. The words Game Over flashing brightly on the display in English. My guess is that whoever translated this wasn't doing a very good job. But then again, games back then had a ton of translation issues, so I guess I'll let that slide. Aw! I was so close this time! Sorry you didn't make it. Boo! Let me try again! I stop him before he can swipe the card on the machine. Hey! How about we try some of the other games instead? Boo! Booing me isn't going to change anything. I didn't come here just to watch you play. Fine. Reluctantly, June steps away from the machine. We take a few rounds around the room looking at any interesting games we might find. What's this thing? Idora Maker. What kind of game is this? Oh, that's a musical game. You pick girls to make an idol group and then you choose their training routines, their songs, their costumes, stuff like that. Who would play this kind of thing? The songs are really nice though. Yeah, no, not my thing. Most of the games here seem to be pretty old. I wonder why that is. They're all very popular vintage machines. If you take a close look, you'll see that they're the machines with the players. People lining up for a few of them. Sheesh, so much excitement just for a bunch of old games. Some people really like the classics, okay? Alright, calm down, no need to blow a gasket over this. Yuichi-san, you can be so insensitive with other people's interests sometimes. Hey! Oh, I used to play this game as a kid too! He cuts me off mid-sentence, hopping towards a nearby machine and examining it with great enthusiasm. Why do I even bother? We do a few rounds across the place, blowing most of our credits on a multitude of games. Outside of a light gun game called Time Fortune, that was pretty fine. I can tell it was a game from the early 90s just by seeing how bad the 3D graphics were, but it was still pretty fun. We should still have enough credits for one more game, I suppose. Do you see any that you want to play? I kinda just dragged us around everyone, forced you to watch me play a bunch. I still had fun anyway. Maybe, but it'll still make me feel better if you could pick something this time. Alright, sure. I saw a few that I think we can play together. I'll just choose one of them. Sure, which one? I think over my options for a second, trying to decide which one to play. If I were going by names alone, I wouldn't pick either of these. They're so bad. But the gameplay of them seemed pretty interesting, and according to Dune, they're all cult classics, so I guess I should give one of them a try. Still, what is about 80s and 90s games that make most of them have terrible titles? It's like someone mistranslated them so badly, and no one had the heart to correct them. Well, no point overthinking this. What are these titles?
Mom.
Your dad.
You're the
Which one? Buildings and people, underground structure of blessing. What? This seems pretty fun. It's beat 'em up with magic and wizards and a lot of underground structures. I guess the name describes it pretty well after all. Oh, this one? I think it's based on a popular tabletop RPG series, but I've never played any of it. June notices me staring intently at the machine and pipes up with some commentary. Tabletop RPG? What's that? They're basically RPGs you just play with your imagination. You write down your character, describe what you do, and roll dice. That doesn't sound very fun. I've never played it, so I wouldn't know. Still, it's pretty popular, and this one was a success in arcades too. I guess we can give this a try. Oh, it has a character select screen even. Let's see, I'll pick this witch girl dressed in green. It says here her magic stat is pretty high. Actually, what are all these characters? They look like a bunch of furless monkeys. It creeps me out. June picks some guy whose description says he's a barbarian and he's wearing suit and tie? What the hell? How do you use magic on this thing? Every button I press just makes her either jump or do a baton twirl. Oh, I forgot to mention, from what I read, this game is supposed to be set in a parody version of the real world, so there's no magic in it. What? Then what do I do with a magic caster character that can't use magic? You better get really used to twirling that baton. Then why is my character even dressed like this? She's a cosplayer suffering from Chunibu. I want to play a different game. Do we want to go back? Because this is just bad. Let's go back. Alright. Not that one, but which of these two? I have to say, though, this music slaps. This one seems interesting. It's a licensed game based on a popular anime from the 80s. I remember watching reruns of this, though all I remember about it is that it having a lot of death. Honestly, I'm honestly surprised Mom let me watch this as a kid. How about this? It brings back a few childhood memories. Oh, that one is pretty cool! I've never played it before, but from the demo videos, it looks like a reskinned generic beat 'em up. Pretty much. It's still really fun though. Yeah, have you played it before? The console version of it, yeah. This has a console version? Yeah, the frame rate is worse, but they fixed a lot of translation issues. Translation issues? Is it that bad? Well, June takes a card from my hand and swipes it on the machine. Immediately begins to play an intro scene, complete with many drawings of the characters talking. The protagonist, Jugemu, stares at his opponent, who stands on a pile of garbage. The man points down at the imposing lead, and his dialogue appears on the screen. All your base belongs to us, Jugemu. The very first line of the game is mistranslated. Yeah, it gets worse. Oh boy, this is going to be awful, isn't it? Sometime later, June is humming the melody from one of the games he played, cheerfully making gestures with his fingers as he bops along to it. He's probably in his best mood since the start of the day, and considering how tired he was when we first met, that makes me really glad. Oh, we need to hurry if we want to catch that play. It starts in 20 minutes. Okay. Despite what I said earlier, he doesn't show the last bit of rush in getting there. He keeps walking at a leisurely pace, slowly making his way through the sea of people populating the hallway. At least he's not freaking out on me, but I wish he had some sense of urgency. June, we really need to hurry. Gotcha! The tiger continues to hum, walking at a snail's pace. Did he get slower? June, we're going to miss the play. Understood. There is no break in his humming. He continues to cheerfully and without a care in the world sing away as if he had infinite time at his disposal. Walking slowly to match his speed is starting to get on my nerves because I don't want to end up missing the damn thing because of this. June? Yeah? Walk faster! I lean into his ear and shout loudly into it, causing him to jump back in surprise and stare at me with super wide open eyes. He nearly knocked someone down in doing it too. I have to admit, it's kind of funny. What's the big idea? I'm telling you to walk faster. We'll miss the play if you keep walking at the snail's pace. But what? Is something the matter? My feet kind of hurt. Behave. Come on, let's find some place to sit down. We don't need to watch the play. No, I want to watch it. I just don't want to have to run there. How much do your feet hurt? I've been running around quite a bit these past few days, so kind of a lot. Well, you are out of shape. This kind of thing is to be expected. But I'm not heartless enough to tell him that to his face. What do you want to do? If we keep going at this pace, there's no way we'll be able to make it to the other building in time. I can make it. I just have to suck it up a little bit. Do we want to rush and miss the play, or hurry so we won't miss it?
Rush. 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 Rush.
There is a secret third solution, but unfortunately it's not an option.
Why?
Piggyback ride.
Yes!
Piggyback.
That's not an option.
Make it an option.
I can't make it an option.
You are our school's equivalent of a programming major. Do your magic.
Be a god.
I don't even have access to the console.
Fair point.
Damn.
Which, if you're going to mod a Renpai game, one thing you need is access to the console.
So how do you get access to the console? Bitch, I will.
I have to mod it to get access to the console.
Mod it.
I'm not going to mod it live.
Fine.
And besides, you know what I forgot to do earlier? Install Photoshop just so I could edit the booby painting out.
There was a booby thing?
There is a booby painting in Chord Progressions. There is a booby painting.
Do we just want to, like, do that before we start the chord progression stream?
Yeah, we might have to.
Okay. Well, I'm going back to sleep now. Good night.
It looks like everyone's saying rest, so we'll just rest. Come on, let's look for a quiet place for us to sit down on. What? But what about the play? I'm not gonna make you run around campus when you're in pain. I'm fine. I can deal with it. Come on. Didn't you want to watch the play? Honestly, I just want to spend time with you. I don't really care if we miss it or not. Ah! June looks away from me, his face suddenly turning quite a bit red. I don't quite know why, but I do really dig this reaction. He looks pretty cute when he's blushing. Where do you want to go? I have an idea. Follow me. Oh yeah, Amethyst says to look away.
I'm not even looking. I'm asleep.
I have an idea. Follow me. I grab him by the arm and lead him away with me. It takes me a few tries, but I finally managed to get through the door lock. This is probably one of the stupidest things I ever did, but I have to admit, I like the rush from it. How did you do that? You just picked the lock! Yep, it wasn't as hard as I thought it'd be. Kind of fun, even. Aren't you going to get in trouble because of it? It's not like they have cameras here. They won't even know we were here. Are you sure? It can't be that easy. Oh, but it is, little one. I'm not little! I don't know, you're kind of little. June walks up close to me, standing on tiptoe to try and look me at face to face. Nuh-uh! Look, I'm almost as tall as you are! Oh my god, Star, it's you.
She's so comfortable right now.
Literally, this is the most comfortable I have been in like weeks. You better enjoy this while you can because this will never happen again.
Okay.
Oh, so the beds in this building are better than the beds in Roxana.
Yes! You have no idea. This is the most comfortable bed I've ever been on. This entire semester.
Yeah, Star's still here.
I haven't gone anywhere. I'm over here trying to nap.
She's over here trying to fall asleep on Sam's bed.
It's comfy.
Even though it's literally the same type of mattress.
It's not. It's bouncier.
I don't know. Nuh-uh! Sure you are. I begin to pet him again. For some reason, it kind of relaxes me. June immediately melts onto my hand, purring. His face is so red, and yet he doesn't seem to care one bit. It's really cute. You liking that? Please don't ever stop!
What the fuck?
Ah! Made a sex noise. And out of context, this is fucking horrifying. That's gonna be hard. I'll need bathroom breaks and food. That can be arranged. His knees start shaking a little, which is when I know it's time to stop. This entire situation is awful out of context. What the... Ah!
I know what I'm gonna be making animations of.
Oh.
This is better than Craigslist right now.
Theta, you wanna show us why you're crying so much?
The
Yeah,
screen.
the blanket's in the way of the screen. Oh, is it an Ad Astra moment, but with June?
No. It's because out of context, this would be horrible. Out of context, it sounds like they're doing inappropriate shit out of context.
I know what I'm animating later.
Bro, I'll just send you the highlight from last night's stream.
Fucking do it.
Because that one's even worse.
Oh god. I don't know. Your crying of pain is my amusement. Kind of like Craigslist today. That was great.
Oh, why did you stop? Well, I'm gonna die. Because I didn't want you to fall to the floor when your knees buckled. That wasn't going to happen. Sure, no way it was. Come on, Yuichi-san, please pet me more. Oh my god, you're being so needy and demanding right now. I don't mind if it's with you. We don't kink shame around these parts. Alright, fine, but at least sit down first. I don't want your niece to just give away. Okay. June quickly lies down on the floor. Guess he decided to go a bit further than what I asked. Not that I'll complain, since I do nap up here quite often anyway. I lie down on my side next to him, being able to see his face quite clearly. He still has his eyes closed, but as soon as my hand touches him, he moves his head towards my hand. It's all very cute and relaxing. Soon he's purring again. He's so easy to please. If this is all he needs to be happy and content, then I guess he would be a very, very low-maintenance boyfriend. To someone. I don't know why I just thought of that. June continues to nuzzle against my hand. I have to admit, walking around for the past few days has left me quite a bit more tired than I thought. I'm so comfortable right now that I'm starting to feel drowsy. I try to will myself into staying awake, but the sound of the wind and June's purring slowly erodes my wakefulness. My eyes start to blink a little slower with each passing second. I shift around a few times, feeling a cold, hard floor under me. When my eyes open, I immediately see the night sky. I lie still for a few seconds, absorbing the view and trying to remember where I am. Then, as a jolt of realization runs through me, I sit up with a jump. When I look to the sky, I see June eyeing me with a bit of surprise. Probably because of the sudden movement. Oh, Yuichi-san, you're awake. But when did I fall asleep? A few minutes after we got here. I've just been enjoying some quiet time while I waited for you to wake up. Ugh, you should have wakened me up sooner. I didn't want to. You looked like you really needed your sleep. Whether I did or not is irrelevant. You still should have woken me up. Isn't it beautiful? I follow his gaze and take in the view of the sky myself. It sure is. I'm glad you managed to get us here, even if you did have to pick the lock. This is the second stream in a row that has happened. It's one more experience that I can say I had in the future. I probably wouldn't tell anyone about this. Who knows, you might be arrested. I doubt someone would immediately call the cops on me because I told them I picked a lock back in high school. Fair enough. Oh, this is adorable. June leans back on the ground, his eyes sparkling with the light of the stars. For some reason, I seem to be more interested in watching him than I do the sky. I never really stopped to think of this before, but June is a pretty handsome guy. I know I call him cute all the time, but this feels somehow different. It's weird, I'm not really sure why that is. I'm confused over my own thoughts, and that's not something I like. By the way, what time is it, Yuichi-san? Let me check. Oh, the fireworks should be starting any time now. Good, that means we were right on time. Yeah. The two of us stare at the sky in silence. The distant cheerful voices of the other students and guests attending the festival can be heard down by the courtyard. But up here, the one sound that is most distinguishable is that of wind. I always found it a bit weird how there always seems to be a breeze up here. Pleasant, but still weird. I'd never come up here in the middle of the night before, so the wind is a tad more chilly than I thought it would be. Man, I wish I'd worn something a little warmer. Probably shouldn't go out in nothing but a tank top. I look good in a tank top, though. June chuckles, his voice carrying softly along the wind. Yeah, I guess you do, although to be honest, you look good regardless of what you're wearing anyway. June isn't even looking at me right now. That's a good thing because I wouldn't want him to see my cheeks searing hot from that compliment. Damn, what's the matter with me? This actually reminds me, Yuichi... Just then, June's voice is cut off by the pop of a firework. Our eyes are immediately dragged upwards and we see the first one appear in the sky. A neon green explosion that fills our view with a beautiful stroke of color. Then, more and more fireworks begin to pop, one after the other. Soon the sky turns into a giant canvas on which all of these vibrant colors are displayed. They appear, they shine brightly, and then they disappear, never to be seen again. Wow! I'd never watched a fireworks display from this high up before. It's truly mesmerizing. What do you think, I turned to look at June, only to see the light of the fireworks reflecting on his eyes. For some reason, my breath is taken away. I stare at his figure slack-jawed. The fireworks that are shooting and illuminating the sky all around us provide a beautiful scenery on the background, as well as shine a beautiful line on him. For what I think is the first time ever, my chest suddenly feels so tight. I feel like words won't come to me. June turns to look at me, those beautiful brown eyes sparkling so full of color. Did you say something? He sounds so much more peaceful and subdued than I'm used to seeing him. He's so calm. I force myself to close my mouth, swallowing a few times before shaking my head in negative. I don't know how much time has passed already, as I completely lost track of it. I continue to stare into June's eyes, not wanting to look away. I feel so warm. I don't get it. The fireworks subside, leaving only June's careful gaze pointed right at me. I was going to mention how the fireworks were beautiful. June nodded, his face maddeningly blank for someone usually so energetic. In fact, his gaze almost looked distant. Like he was here, but at the same time, not. Yeah, you looked beautiful with the fireworks shining on you too, Yuichi. The words he said just now, they were incredibly close to the ones I myself was just thinking a while ago. What? Me? Yuichi, I like you. Well, of course I like you too. He slowly shakes his head sideways. Not as a friend, as a man, romantically. That's it. The thin line that was still keeping my mind sane and capable of functioning completely snaps. My mouth opens wide and I just stare, in shock, without saying a word. June looks at me like that for a few moments, carefully studying me. Say something. June slowly stands up, looking down at me with a now empty expression. Please, anything. Move. Yeah, this is about what I expected anyway. I feel as if I were watching my own body from far away. As if I were looking at the person right in front of me from someone else's eyes. No matter how much I try to will myself, my body absolutely freezes to respond. It just stands there, frozen in shock. Uselessly. Please forget I ever said anything, okay? No. Asking me to forget is a little impossible. June slowly walks away. Inside my mind, I scream at myself to do something, anything, but my body remains completely still. I don't even know what I want to do. What should I even say? That's too much. So out of the blue, it's too much. I don't understand. I hear the sound of a door closing from far away, but I still don't turn to look. How do I respond? Is it too late to respond? What am I doing? Why am I feeling so conflicted? Oh, why don't I know what I want? At some point, I become aware that my mind is completely shut down. I can hear the sound of steps. Somehow I know they're mine, but I'm not even aware of when I started to walk. My body just began moving on its own at some point. By the time I realize it, I'm back in my room. When did I get here? And why? Once I notice lucidity has come back to me, I grab my phone and immediately type a message to June. I don't even know what I want to say. Do I feel the same? How can you just expect me to come up with an answer to something like that on the spot? Don't just drop something like this on me suddenly, you idiot. The sound of metal and glass cracking echoes across the air. Didn't even notice it at first. My phone is lying on the floor on the other side of the room, burst open at the center with the glass cracked into a million pieces. Did I throw it? Why? I sit down on the bed staring at my own hands in a daze. My mind isn't working right. I don't even know why I'm so annoyed. I just know that I am. I need to talk to June, but probably shouldn't drop by his house right now. And tomorrow we don't have class either. Try to drop by his house tomorrow morning anyway. Not like I can message him now with the mangled mess on the corner. I grab a pillow, falling back onto my bed and burying my face in it, groaning in frustration. Why am I such an indecisive idiot? I need to think things over. That was definitely a confession. I need time to figure out how I feel about it. Part of me definitely wants to say yes, but there's this little part of my brain that keeps screaming at me. It tells me that if I do, I'll just end up hurting June the same way I hurt the girls I dated. I don't want that. I don't want to hurt him. If I had to see him sad or crying, I don't think my heart would be able to take it. Instead, I roll over on the bed as my body begins to relax, being someplace familiar. My mind begins to settle down. And I crash. We're gonna leave off here tonight. If you're going to stick around for chord progressions, then go ahead and do that. If not, stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.